Hello and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to another video. If you are new to this channel, my name is Frank Zhu, and I'm a college professor teaching sociology, history, and philosophy. I'm also an award-winning landscape photographer. You probably already know that Confucius was the famous ancient Chinese philosopher with a higher international reputation. But within China, he is known as Confucius. Kong was his surname, and Fuzi is actually a title given to him by his followers, literally meaning teacher or master. The name Confucius, which sounds similar to Confucius in pronunciation, is a Latinized name, first used in the 16th and 17th centuries by Western missionaries who wanted to introduce Chinese philosophy to the West. Within China, Confucius is considered as the most prominent philosopher. Outside China, Socrates is probably better known, especially among Westerners. However, in my opinion, both of them are highly influential philosophical figures. Living roughly at the same time, they were separated by geography and culture and focused on different aspects of philosophy. But neither should be regarded as better than the other. One is popularly considered as the founder of Western philosophy, and the other the founder of Eastern philosophy. Again, neither philosophy should be regarded as better than the other. By the way, I will make a separate video specifically discussing the similarities and differences between Socrates and Confucius. If you are interested, please subscribe. Confucius was born Kong Chu, living in the so-called Warring States period, which was a time period in Chinese history when China was divided into many small kingdoms that were fighting with each other for domination. It was a time of intense warfare, political instability, and social upheavals. People were living miserable lives, suffering from poverty and dislocation. It was also a time of philosophical and intellectual developments, thanks to many people who were worried about people's lives and who were thinking about human nature, about the social problems and their solutions. Confucius was one of those people. During a time of chaos and turbulence caused by wars, he preached political, social, and ethical principles that he believed would bring peace, contentment, dignity, and personal cultural development to everyone. Confucius was already a scholar at a young age, but his ambition to bring back good old days led him to travel far and wide outside his native kingdom of Lu, hoping that he could convince the rulers in different kingdoms of his philosophy of good governance and social harmony. Although he was turned down almost everywhere he went, he successfully gathered large groups of followers as he preached along the way. After he died, most of his ideas were collected by his followers and were contained in a book known as Analects, which contains the essence of the newly emerged philosophy called Confucianism. Confucianism is a comprehensive philosophical theory covering a broad range of political, social, and ethical issues. As I said, what Confucius wanted to do was to bring back peace and social order to a divided and war-ridden China. He explained to people what he considered as the ideal society, how to govern it, what roles individuals could play within that society, and most importantly, how to cultivate personal characters to create social harmony. Politically, Confucius held that a good government depended on good officials rather than a good system. To establish a good government, therefore, only men of good virtues should be put into government positions. He called these good people men of ren, which can be roughly translated to gentlemen, who possessed good virtues such as humanity, benevolence, and culture. In his opinion, only these gentlemen had the vision to move society towards peace and virtue. For him, society was kept in good order not by a rule of law, but by a rule of good people, because good people by nature would take good care of other people. The state should be like a family in which father was the undisputed head. Each person in the family should obey him. Confucius' philosophy of rule by people, in my opinion, played an essential role in legitimizing dynastic rule based on the ruler's ability to keep order and prosperity. For thousands of years, Chinese people held the belief that their lives would be happy and prosperous as long as they had good emperors. Little did they think of other systems. How to maintain social order was another important aspect of Confucius's philosophical thinking. For a society to be in good order, according to Confucius, human relationships should be maintained appropriately. Under Confucianism, there are 5 fundamental relationships: ruler and subject, parent and child, husband and wife, old brother and younger brother, and friend and friend. Each person in these relationships has a particular role to play and has particular obligations to meet. When every person in these relationships lives up to his or her obligations, society is orderly and predictable. For example, between the ruler and the subjects, the ruler should take good care of the subjects, and the subjects should obey and respect the ruler in the same way as the father loves the family and takes care of everyone, who in turn obeys him. The most important element of Confucianism is the cultivation of moral character. According to Confucius, good characters were essential to good governance and good relationships. For him, you were born good, but that doesn't mean you are good now. You have to learn to become a good person. That is the reason why Confucius put a lot of emphasis on education. You probably already know that Chinese people throughout the world are well known for spending lots of money and efforts on education of their children. This tradition owes a lot to Confucius. Education should focus primarily on developing your character, according to Confucius. What you ought to do is not as important as how you ought to be. To put it another way, learning to follow rules in morality, if there are any, is not as important as learning to develop your character, which in turn will allow you to make correct and right decisions. In Confucianism, there are 5 virtues to develop: benevolence, righteousness, propriety, wisdom, and integrity. Among these 5, in my opinion, benevolence and propriety are the most important ones. Benevolence is about love and passion for others. An individual is relevant only in relation with others. You are nobody without family and community. Therefore, you should have goodwill, generosity, and love towards others within the community. First and foremost, you should exhibit proper love and respect for your parents, elders, and ancestors. This kind of filial piety has shaped the Chinese family for thousands of years. In social interactions, everyone should be guided by this principle. What you do not wish for yourself, do not do to others. In other words, don't treat others in ways you yourself would not wish to be treated. This principle, which is known as the Golden Rule, is the most important in Confucianism in terms of individual behavior. In addition, Confucius also taught people to practice altruism and self-restraint, because egoism and arrogance would only hurt yourself by isolating you from others. Such a principle of behavior has been observed one generation after another. Parents teach their children to be modest and humble. When the children grow up, they teach their children to do the same. This is why when a Chinese person is praised for an achievement, they will humbly say, "No, far from it," which is different from many Westerners who will usually say, "Thank you." The second most important virtue that you should develop is Li, which can be roughly translated into correct ritual. It basically means appropriate conduct in different situations. You should learn to exhibit appropriate and different conduct in terms of dress, table manners, patterns of greetings, ancestor worship, and so on and so forth. For a society to be stable and harmonious, you don't need excessive laws or threats of punishment as long as you have correct ritual, according to Confucius. Li also requires you to exhibit appropriate behavior in different relationships. For example, among siblings, the younger one should always show respect for the elder one and never call him or her directly by name. Although Confucius was already a popular figure and his teachings were influential in his lifetime, his ideas only became prominent several hundred years after his death. In the 3rd century BCE, the Han Dynasty rulers made Confucianism the state ideology and established schools to teach it. But the major reason why Confucianism spread out was the fact that the Han Dynasty established civil service exams to recruit civil servants and accepted Confucianism as the basis of those exams. From then on, this civil service exam system was adopted by almost every dynasty. It is not hard to imagine the influence of Confucianism when government policies were designed, implemented, and enforced by people who were educated in Confucianism. Ever since then, Confucianism dominated people's thinking in China for thousands of years, until the beginning of the 20th century. Before I finish this video, I want to emphasize that Confucianism is not a religion, because there is nothing supernatural about Confucianism. It is true that there are Confucius temples in China, but his followers don't pray, and there is no strict organization based on the faith in him. He is not worshipped as a deity with supernatural attributes. Well, that is all for today. As I said earlier, I will make a separate video comparing Confucius and Socrates and their philosophies. If you are interested, please subscribe to this channel so you will not miss it. As always, thank you for watching this video, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.